Well, good morning as we're sitting here at the LTV on this beautiful morning, April 17th, year 2024, here with the Hello Hello Show. My name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and the tradition of the Hello Hello Show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fresh Dougherty, Francis Ann, and of course the likes of you out there that make it your business to enhance and fortify the concept of public access as we are actually trying to gather the the ever-changing meaning of such a good concept that governs a crucial part of our artistic tendencies and attraction to and desires, and in that sense being able to uh, you know what, I should see, let's see if it can play conception vessel. Let's see if it's oh, oh, I love it. Oh my god, this is great. Okay, okay. So today I wanted to experiment a little bit with the fact that, if indeed this is a stage to improvise, and not that I'm not improvising every day or every time I do the show. There's kind of improvisation, maybe kind of calculated improvisation, but still, nevertheless, being added to the uh, deposits of recollections and layers of pure material for an experience to kick in the future and help us with that which is stands in our way and slows us down and maybe make us unnecessarily think, have second thoughts. But in the heart of the creative process resides something that's natural and familiar to us, and those who want to pause for a second and reflect and say, maybe there is a way for me to participate. Maybe there is a way for me to include that into that which is occupying my life now anyway, so it can speak its piece through me and maybe enlighten me in the process. A lot of people, at least artists that I know, trying to shy away from that which is too obvious and too popular and too acceptable and too reasonable and just a given in the way that it appeals to people and how people accept it, and what it is that they're doing with it once they adapt it, so to speak. So it's like the rhythm that gives you a sense of security, and even though your instincts tell you don't go there, but the music invites you and you decide to trust the rhythm. The melody leads to harmony, and the rhythm within the melody and the harmony and the root between melody and harmony is just three different entities, and they're so enjoying and joyful in their own demeanor and gestures and operational mode. And so you go through the cycle itself. You can calculate and design and prepare the route, at least at its early stages, second by second, and to be surprised with that which you set yourself up not to cause you any sensations of surprise to begin with. So you're kind of keeping that straight face through the process, and you know that your nature is all about creativity. It's all about getting your hands moving and adapting to the dictation of the brain and the playfulness of pre-established patterns that inevitably, and you know that for sure, for a fact, taking you into the realm that serves the process that's called art. How much humbling factors and power that it carries with it to maybe ensure that even the greatest of those who wish ill to everything will now and then that will cause it to now and then stop and pause and think and say, well, maybe I shouldn't. Just imagine all these villains from the not too distant past. I mean, just like Stalin. Let's just imagine if Stalin could wake up in the morning in the late 30s and early 40s and suddenly hear himself saying, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't go there. Maybe I shouldn't do that. If Hitler was to say, okay, I hate Jews, but so what? I hate Jews, so I have to learn to live with it and not go the route that he did and say, maybe I shouldn't. No, yeah, maybe he shouldn't have. But the the association that leads you to believe that even though the future is kind of heading towards you as you're heading towards the future, not because you intentionally doing it, it's because this is the direction that time takes you and life takes you into the conclusion that's called death and removal to another entity, another reality, a form of life that's not familiar to us now. But it so but in this, but nevertheless, the motion that carries the rhythm and vice versa is of such that tells you that both future and present are walking towards the same direction, even though they're heading to opposite directions that will eventually lead to um, joining forces, um, but still, nevertheless, going on opposite routes. And without planning, on the surface, the reality uncovers itself to be that both forces, both entities, walking together in sync, heading towards the same direction, which is a lot to be learned from, especially if you want to change your style of painting only by changing the pattern of your relationship to the surface, to the canvas. How am I going to approach? And this is, by the way, you can might as well say that about life and everything that happens in life, everything that you ever encountered and will and encountering now and will encounter. It can relate to that. So you say, well, I want to be able to create many compositions, many skeletons, many configurations um, that will serve me as a code of conduct and also as um, a routine about approaching, about preparing, about proceeding to approach, about realizing that you always have to continue to prepare because even when you start the live engagement, it still needs consideration of that. Uh, and it's interesting to know that actually we want to accept the fact that we are encountering something spatial and we actually made a decision to engage, i.e., to say to ourselves, we want to look further into it. So that sense of humility that it introduces us to, that we grasp immediately, and that there's no doubt in our minds that we want to be a part of it, no matter what the price is, no matter how hard we're going to work, and supposedly not going to get paid for all the hours we put into it. But instinctively, your system already tells you, of course, of course, of course, we're going there. So that humility that humility being inflicted upon you as people. But if we're dealing with artists, with the group of people that making coherent decisions to say, well, I'll acquire the skills, I will become familiar with mood swings, and I will always be compatible with being able to evaluate where I am at that point, and also so much more, and also just the relationship between one and another. So there's a web of things that are all original by nature, because you know that you yourself created it and put it in place. So you vowing to have that which is needed for the process by way of skills, by way of tools, and all your calculations and configurations and decision making process to bring you to the moment where you don't even have to say, I'm ready, you're ready. But then this process does not cease from fermenting. It wants to see how this reflection will look as we make the rounds second time around, and always think that it's a good idea, that it was a good idea, that it would be a good idea to kind of second time around, you realize it didn't seem like it was different, but you know it was different. So you look through the spatial glasses that you yourself on your own behalf created, and you know what it gives you, what edge it provides to you, and you know how to go about to uh, embark with it, you know. And I say embark, I mean really take off more than once in ways that doesn't really need any justifications nor any permission to go this route, to go this way, you know. Like they say, the power residing at the fingertip that points out the direction that answers your request. Where am I? I need to go to. Can you help me? And then you're getting the directions, and then that send off is ensuring half of the population of the planet Earth to be secured through their eventual um, experience with the other world that we're going to be led from the world that is so familiar to us right now as we speak. So there is a gesture that carries the same smell and aroma and and familiarity with a certain unique touch that once you identify it, there's no way that you're thinking whether it is or isn't. The new reality that's forming is full of is resolute. Is resolution is the call of the day, the thereforeness of the day, of the specific, particular, meticulous um, presence. You know, like I said the other day, the future wants to make its presence known, i.e., make itself available, make you feel that it is at your disposal, meaning succumbing to the will of human beings of planet Earth. Can you believe it? That actually the future not only that can be succumbing to the that which is dictated by human beings, but also chooses to be a part of it, chooses to answer yes, chooses to give something for the cause, and knowing that that something is the thing that it cannot do without. So new layers of being accumulated, and by doing so, this wonderful height is being erected and achieving a slowly but surely a final look, a final reflection of something that is new, modernistic, new age, um, uh, competitively experimental, right in front of our eyes, and that you would have to hear yourself say all the time, I can't believe this is indeed something that is a result of my decision making process, my goodwill and willingness to cope with the desires that we all have and share doesn't differ, not even in a second, not even in a 0.0001 of its contents that will be subjected and exposed to that. It equals as if the entire 100% is sinking into the zone of requirements and demands. And um, I would dare even say the natural unfolding of traits that are awesome just by being traits and serving their purpose by uh, accommodating the needs. I dare say their needs because they know how similar and how one and the same is are their needs as our needs together and compared. But still, all this, just imagine. So now we're talking about whether you out there are artists or not, whether you can be if you're not, and continue to be better and better if you are. So and it's not necessarily a tricky question, or it's just like, so now we're talking about you, saying you, what is it. I'm not even talking about that which will lure you, lure, into the that specific zone, space, that when you find yourself there, then you're already kind of halfway through. You have to speak your piece, and this piece will, agreed by all, will be artistic, creative, whimsical, and so much more. No matter what, to a certain degree, you know that. So that's a good feeling. That's actually a feeling of strength. Then one cannot coherently achieve it or put in place mechanism that will work for the fact that it can be achieved, that will help that be achieved. And obviously when you achieve things like that, there's things that you just like pull out because you're in the depth of it, you're in the center of it, of you're in front of the canvas, things are happening, you don't have time to waste, and you feel like this can be completed. And you can find yourself very very soon speaking the last syllables that needs to wrap things up and send it with a title that was pre-established before this piece was even conceived. So what is it that we want to just, first of all, on the account of a deep trust that we have developed and trained ourselves to believe that is important, and that maybe we'd rather not want to do without, that we must have that. We must have these qualities. We don't really need to saturate reality with so much goodness. Just a little bit, knowing what's crucial and what's not, knowing what's better than the other, knowing what you prefer. And then when the moment of truth comes, you will know that you're going to be happy for the choices that you made and satisfied. So therefore, you sparing yourself from being amazed by your decision-making process after the fact, in order to realize something that you're already aware of and realize this, and that's it. So there's no time to waste time, and this time is crucial, and you want, especially at the beginning, to have extra time. Forget about enough. What was you planned for extra time because you would need it. But now we're talking about you out there, and when I talk about you, I talk about myself. It's the same. I don't want to talk about you. Are you artists? Yeah, I don't want to ask this as a question because I don't want to hear myself answering something that is already a given. Of course, of course, of course. Yes, 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 of course. Of course, yes, yes, of course. That was answered a long time ago and put aside very calmly and and gently. And what about you? I need to know what about you in order to know what about me. I need your support in that sense. I need the support of my immediate surrounding. And let's say out of 100 that I know that are in my immediate zone every day, there are like 3 or 5 or 7 people that I can really pick up and a, a chunk of engagement that is telling me already about that, the reason that caused me to be led to that moment, to that scenario, and take place in it, telling me already that I'm going according to plan, and I'm actually achieving the things that are so much needed for the process that you as an artist invest in and need in order to continue to conclude semi conclusions, extremely crucial and important. But that's a whole topic and scenario to be talked about for hours. So, you, in the midst of my quest for my identity, you stand there completely clear and by the see-through uh, f- flesh, solid, undeniable presence of yours. Uh, Clarity is being poured out and served as a just tasty water. It's tasty by way of saying it doesn't taste like anything. It must be tasty. Because if it doesn't taste good, you will know it doesn't taste good. But when you don't know that it tastes good always when it tastes good, but you know that if it doesn't taste any other thing than good, so it's like when it's neutral, it's definitely not bad. Maybe not good, but definitely not bad. Maybe not good, but definitely not bad. Now that's a great formula if you think about it, because no matter how much you want and ready and willing to philosophize, whatever it is, no matter how far you can stretch it and how deep you can go and how fast, still at some point you will have to find yourself live, real time, needing to engage, needing to embark, needing to jump forward, needing it, of course, in the midst of while this vessel is always going for moving, never being bothered by speed, by where, what destination, just moving. In the face of that, the big discoveries roll in. It involves a lot of motion, a lot of rhythm that is outside the ongoing 24/7 given of that thing moving, regardless of how forcefully and how fast and all that. So quickly enough, I realize that I am so grateful and that I need to find a way to express it and to show it to you out there. I asked the question. They asked the question 50, 60, 70 times, making you believe like I didn't get the answer. First time I asked the question, I already got the answer. I stored it, digested it, wheeled, and did and dealt with it, and this configuration gave me the opportunity to evaluate what am I witnessing, what kind of this human commodities they're available that showing nothing but the epitome of that which helps you gather ever so naturally that which will form strength. I don't even want to use the word a strength. It's just strength. So therefore you can really transport it to all destinations necessary if and when. And I hardly know, and I know a lot of artists, but I hardly know an artist, technically speaking, that makes it his or her business to have discussions with oneself all the time, but discussions of the nature that dictates controversy, or disagreement, agreement, uh, wholesomeness, friction, aggression, love, you know, all these, and everything has a verbal journey of its own, with a verbal identity and verbal profile and verbal existence, and you try as much as possible to have that which will help you to keep a straight face through the process. I know I keep on repeating annoyingly this whole thing. If I manage to keep my straight face through the process, and that's what spelled success. Any success, any amount of success, any kind of success, all success. But it is all about that which will help you make sure that you have what it takes in order to keep that straight face, because you don't want to repeat the process. And there's nothing more painful than repeating the process, that if you would have known better, well, you knew better, but you didn't really do enough. Now you're saying, I definitely don't want to go through this again. So you pick and choose the short versions and the shortcut versions. Whatever. At first, it's very kind of creating doubts and second thoughts, and then you realize this is the way to go, this is the route to go, and you decide, and you're embarking, and you're doing, because things are happening all the time, and you realize that it works. And how do you realize that it's actually good and it works? Because you don't hear these questions being asked in the curriculum, in the subject matters stored in your head, in your brain, apropos that which you're engaged in. So it gives you constant indication about, go ahead, do what you're doing, do what you have to do. Don't worry about anything other than that which you need to focus on in order to get what you need to get and achieve what you need to achieve. And will provide you of that strength so crucial for you by doing almost exactly nothing. We won't encourage, we will not discourage, we will not offer a hand, we will not sympathize, we will not rave about, and will not be excited, and we won't be sad about it, about anything. We'll just make our presence known. Now, I love that, to be seen. Go out there. Like, I remember when I first arrived to this neighborhood, and I worked in a restaurant, and first day in the restaurant, the owner of the restaurant, very famous restaurant in East Hampton, the Baitstone Arms, in 1983. I was I was giving instructions what my outfit. I think, well, yeah, get a khaki pants, jean shirt, all good. I came, and so I was supposed to be. I wasn't sure whether I'm going to be a waiter or a busboy, whatever. But I said, busboy, probably better to start as a busboy. She said, okay, turn around. You're looking good. Great. So I said, so what do I need to do? She said, word by word. She said, go around, parade yourself, make your presence known. And when people ask you a question, you answer, I will be right back. And then you come to me, and I give you the answer, or whatever. Come to me. Go around, parade yourself through the guests, make your presence known. And if someone asks you a question, reply, I'll be right back. I loved it. I always loved it in that sense. It was like as if I was, and then that's exactly what. That's why I gave this example. Is that make your presence known in the schemes, in these schemes of things, and it's seemingly a a um, a gathering of too many accidental, chaotic, extremely free experimental droppings, but because it comes from this wonderful, knowledgeable creature, human being, because it comes from that fantastic, educated, well trained individual, we we don't question or second guess such greatness. We are safe and sound in our conviction that we, under no circumstances, if we want to place an opinion or criticism, can say anything that will make sense. So, therefore, what do we do? Or, for that sake, what is it that we don't do? What do we do? Exactly nothing. We keep to ourselves. We will build up the relationship between ourselves and the instincts. And these instincts are really not different than any incident in the past that happened to you, and your instincts showed up and you said yes, and you're just about to say no, but you actually said yes, and you 99.9% of the times you were proven to be right. So now there's a, a an impressive becoming, and and you you you're so completely willing because you're so completely ready, but yet you're not panicking because actually, but nothing is happening. And I remember in the early stages, it was like that. Now and then, I still feel it in the height of my experience and my sensations of, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. I know how to do it. I'm sure I can do it because I doing it now. I did it yesterday and in the past, and I will do it tomorrow. Yeah, I know. This is why I feel this way. But you kind of sit up and you stretch and you are able for some reason to see very clear. And as many energies and forces that are active participants in somewhat complex reality, I seem to be very calm and very able to understand what's cooking around, and really quickly and and quickly enough I realized that I have a say. I'm influential. And where am I influential? Not just among friends or not just like amongst people that like me and never want to upset me and say no. So they will say yes. They will say, good, and when they want to say bad, or when they say gentle, when they want to say harsh, and whatever, things like that. So that give and take, that potential give and take, is what it is the nature of worthwhileness that is just reassuring, even further reassuring, that you're in the right place, you're in a good place, you're more good to go than you think, and giving you a little push that somehow, lucky for you, you're doing certain things that help it materialize to become something that you weren't aware of that it's needed, and you never even thought a minute ago that this will ever be a scenario where I will find myself realizing that I need such and such, this and that, and overthinking of a situation, of a reality that in my mind is already resolved. I never thought I would have to deal with it in my life. And suddenly I realized that if I would only let it, I can undress it completely. And suddenly the truth is friggin' naked. And even though you rehearsed all your life with this slogan, truth is naked, and suddenly when you see the truth naked, you can't help yourself but ridiculing ridiculing the moment. This always supposedly needs to be dominant and overwhelming, and you are all you have to say is like, really, really, I mean, really, really, and you mean it. But still, you find yourself full of compassion. You want to alleviate. You want to be. You want to try and stop pain from happening or coming people's way, and you want to be able to maybe do something to alleviate the pain when it does come and engage and latches onto our path, our lives, our souls and spirits and bodies. You want to be able to also reassure people, like it's hands off, but let me tell you, hands off, but let me tell you, you know, um, you can't even call the remedy for it as as a potential cure. As a matter of fact, there's almost, I don't think that there's room for the word cure to even exist because, whatever, it's too complicated. And I don't want to get into it because they are important things that I don't know anything about it. I want to discuss with you still. But let me see if I'm. Um, so going back to the moment where live, just that immediate, here comes ignition, it's amazing. And the moment of truth opens itself in front of you, and that's make it or break it, even though it's not like that at all. So you're in front of that surface in a crucial moment that's called live action, and you realize that really you can't trust anything that you think or feel or guess or contemplate or anything. You can't trust it. So the conclusion is that if you can maintain that level of enthusiasm as far as the desire to be in a part and active in this engagement, pick up the brush. For God's sake, pick up the brush. You look around and you say, oh, I see about 20 brushes here with about 20 samples of three different groups of color scenarios and pigments, about 100 tubes around. No excuses. Full body of vacant canvases in front of you. Music if you wish to. A good glass of wine if you want to spoil yourself. But still, you're in that environment that is crucial to you and to your journey. That's where you create. That's where you put things together. That's where you make crucial, important decisions. That's where you add one to one and layer to layer. And that's where you come up with final conclusions and completion. That's where you send forth from all the creations that will present themselves to the world, to the hungry, needy world for that sense of, okay, well, maybe I don't want to miss the action. Maybe I want even more so to be a part of it. So thank God you find yourself prepared. And this is about life also. I don't care. I'm not going to talk about life. But you can easily just take everything and do a copy paste from the studio in front of your medium, artistic medium, into the life outside, out there, where you have to go and do shopping or go see a doctor or visit a friend or go on a vacation, wherever. It doesn't matter. It's the same. You want to say, thank God I'm ready. I mean, I can do without 90% of all the things that supposedly in the past I thought, yeah, that's cool. That's cool to be a part of it. Every little tiny movement, I wanted to be a part of it, because I said it cannot not be that which I need. Something out of it, as little or as big or as few and as many. I will still need it. I can benefit from it. I don't go there anymore because I kind of sometimes realize that by being patient, you can have one or two encounters that will embody all the ingredients in one package. So instead of going back and forth, forth and back, you kind of realize that is you can hit it right once and you can be okay to go for a long duration. Now, in a world like ours, we must think of their influence and what is it that we create will will produce in order th- for people to witness and experience it and say, I just experienced something good. I mean, I go sometimes to art exhibitions or any kind of art displays, and I feel good because I look and I don't quite understand everything, but I know the extent of the level of loyalty that the individual, the artist, had with the moment, with the call for engagement, with the necessity for responsibility, and with accumulation of self identity and knowledge and capabilities, technique oriented capabilities. And of course, if you have photographic memory or an exceptional memory or a capacity to take in a lot and keep it for long and understand that it's going through the grinder of common sense, that lucky for you again, something you created. So you will never find yourself contemplating, what is this machine all about? Because it's the machine that you have created yourself. You put it together, you built it, you envisioned it, you invented it, you did it. So it's almost like I remember in the early days when I was a long distance runner, and I used to train actually the champion of Israel in 3 miles. It was 3 and 5 miles. Used to train with me because he wanted to prepare, to improve his time. And what we used to do, we used to join races around northern Israel in like early and mid 70s, and I always used to sprint for the first mile in such a way that he was just following me, and it was, let's say, 40% faster than he would otherwise usually do, as he calculates 3 and 5 miles. I think 3 miles for him was like 16:25 or something. It's a good time. So that's how I feel sometimes, that I use a part of myself to challenge me for a, a sprint opening, and so I'm kind of tempt myself, trigger myself, and and then find myself, and a minute later, say, okay, you look, and everyone is about 500-600 feet behind you, so you're with confidence, kind of, every step that you take is actually guaranteeing you, uh, guaranteeing you, uh, That by now, maybe your competition already gave up. They say, okay, I'll shoot for second and third. I'm going to shoot for this wonderful, delicious. I wish I could tell you that we can think together. What is it that we can learn from all this blah blah? I mean, good, positive, powerful blah blah. Like when I used to attend all these poetry readings, and my mentor, then God bless his soul, Alan Plants, I used to tell him, I used to feel bad that every time I go to poetry readings, and then at the end of the reading, I don't seem to remember much of what happened. So I would always assume that everyone understood, remember a lot of what you took, the contents, the poetry, the metaphors, and I'm the only one who's just like kind of empty. Did I not listen close enough? Is something wrong with my memory? What is it? Do I not like it? So Alan used to say, don't bother yourself with this. This is common for everyone. But one thing you have to remember, you should be able to latch on to one sentence, a combination of a few words, one word, one description of one poem out of 100 that you heard today, and hold on to it. That's what you're getting out of a poetry reading. That's what you're getting. There's a sailboat in my mind. It sails to distances that belongs to my forefathers. That sailboat that sails inside your mind to reach the distances where your heritage lies and awaits your appearance, sudden appearance, and all these wonderful good things that will, if and when, will happen on the account of that. So, um, so at the end of the day, I do find out. I find out about you, about what it is that I was wondering about you out there, about you who have this desire, normal, natural, acceptable desire that you want to be in the move, on the go, and we want to, even if you can't or don't, to pretend that you're making things happen, because this is a natural feeling of your body telling you, I can't stand myself. I can't stand myself. I need something that will kind of very ever so lightly shake me, but will be constant through the process. And then when you realize that you're actually approaching something that is going to be maybe too demanding, and you want to kind of spare yourself from that, and somehow finally realize that you have what it takes in order to swirl to the right and avoid that, and without making it look too obvious, and that nobody will hate your guts later, that you will say, oh, you saw me and you avoided me and you didn't say hi, something like that, whatever. And then you can always say, you don't know how lucky you are that I didn't stop. Better for you, I wasn't in my right mind. So maybe I maybe we have what, another 5 minutes, and maybe I can find this that I want to share with you and read with you. I don't know if it's going to be here or here. Yeah, let's see. Hmm. Hmm? Not there. Maybe I can find it here. Hmm. It was actually very delicious. Oh my god! This is called All of a Sudden. I love it. Oh my god, I love it. Uh, let's see if I can make it happen. An opening, okay? Okay. It's called the power of manipulation. I love it. Okay, but I didn't want the opinion. Okay, let's how about we do this? Here we go. Clean up. Let's see if I can make. Okay. Uh, okay, almost there. Wonderful. Nice. Okay, so that will be an example. Okay, this is how I'm going to finish here. Okay, wonderful. This is just to wrap things up, and it has a lot to do with what I was talking about for about 45, 50 minutes. In the depth of soul searching, amidst tangled emotions and transient connections, lies a trove of introspection waiting to be unearthed. Each encounter, whether fleeting or enduring, carries with it a weight of revelation and the subtle dance of fate. Amidst a tumult of green rivers and whispered rumors, there emerges a moment of clarity, a brief respite in the storm, a fleeting glimpse of mastery. As we navigate the labyrinth of life, we are reminded that wisdom often comes through solitary reflection and unexpected encounters. It's in these moments of vulnerability that we find unexpected solace, sometimes from the most unlikely sources. A simple gesture, a fleeting presence can hold the key to unexpected revelations, revealing hidden truths and unlocking paths to unforeseen blessings. Yet, amidst the chaos, there lies a silent guardian, a figure of authority, perhaps, or benevolent force watching over us in the quiet of the night. Amidst the brew of uncertainty, there's a sense of security, a roof over one's head, a sanctuary from the storm. It's in these moments of quietude, quietude that love and care weave their magic, breathing life into the soul and nurturing the tender tendrils of our humanity. And so we embrace the cyclical nature of existence, finding solace in the certainty of repetition and the boundless freedom of the soul. For in the end, it is love, care, and the unwavering certainty of being that sustain us through the ebb and flow of life's journey. I thought that was kind of almost like borderline enlightening, annoying, enlightening. And it's all about, like, these verses painting a vivid picture of turmoil and defiance. And there's a struggle between light and darkness. It actually played out in a very poetic way. Intensity. Okay, so I guess this is a good way to conclude. And just wanted to thank you for your patience. I actually wanted to let you know that this 55 minutes that I was kind of monologuing, I actually listened to a loop of the um, conception vessel uh, by uh, by Paul Mochan. So all these 56 minutes, I had this. Check out Google Conception Vessel by Paul Mochan, and it's awesome, awesome, awesome. So this is actually was yeah, new age abstraction, back and forth and back, and on more than one level. To remind you that we have a solo exhibition, continuing with the tradition of the art shows that we have here on the corridors of LTV. The late Frank Sofo, that passed away about 2-3 months ago, and we're going to show full body of his work, almost 40 paintings, through the first week of May. April 27th on a Saturday, 3 to 6 p.m., we have an opening reception for this wonderful gathering, wonderful exhibition. We hope to see you there. We're going to be here tomorrow, as much as we were here yesterday, and as much as we're here this morning. Wednesday morning, April 17th, year 2024. God bless. Again, thank you. And thank you for your generosity. We'll see you soon.